Is AI already overhyped? In this video, we will quickly look into the mission critical question, how big can AI get? And I want to do like a total addressable market analysis, TAM analysis, that is done in many industries, in the investment profession. They love to do this, for example, for a venture capital. And yeah, we will just look at the total addressable market. How big can AI be? So why you should listen to this? First of all, we will look into the question, how much revenue will AI actually take? So what is the take rate of global revenue, of global companies' revenue, the TAM? Or what can we expect in this regard? Which companies and sectors will benefit the most from the AI disruption? Nobody knows. Disclaimer, I don't know either. I just give my opinion. I give my analysis based on data. We will look into the question, which jobs will remain safe? And I've found some interesting job reports and reports from the World Bank and stuff that have some interesting insights. And I'll give you also my view how you can be on the right side of change. So let's dive right into it. First of all, we will look at this paradigm shift, because AI is a paradigm shift, right? We scale intelligent labor. This has to be the biggest paradigm shift in the world, like in the human history. And we will look at this paradigm shift in the wrong way, right, from within the system. But I'll do this because many people will not believe the numbers that come out, that emerge if you look at this paradigm shift from outside the system, from what could be, instead of what can we expect the future to be looking from within the system, assuming the system remains the same structurally. And as I said, it's impossible to actually analyze a paradigm shift from within the existing system, because the existing system itself will change. So obviously all these numbers, like the GDP I use, or the global labor share as a percentage of GDP, is completely irrelevant if we 10x the GDP, right? In that case, all numbers will be significantly higher. Okay, but let's do this exercise anyway, so we can get some nice and clean numbers that can be then used to analyze existing system participants, and also just get a feel of how big the opportunity really is, and answer the question conclusively whether AI is overhyped. Okay, so the global GDP currently is 105 trillion, and not all of this goes to labor. A certain percentage of this goes to capital as well. I think it's like 40%, 60% goes to labor. So the labor share is roughly 60 trillion of the global economy. So 60 trillion, what does it mean? 60 trillion is basically $60,000 billion in annual revenue. So the total addressable market for labor, like, we could stop the video here, right? It is from within the system. If the GDP doesn't change through the addition of AI or the integration of AI into our global economy, then the total addressable market would be 60 trillion. But you might argue not all of it can be replaced by AI. So not all the revenues will go to AI, and you would be right. So let's have a bit more fine-grained analysis. Also, what does it mean, 60 trillion? Give me some context or some comparison. So there I found a great IMF study called something like Impact on Jobs. And here in the study we find that the global labor cost that we analyzed to be 60 trillion per year, like 60% of the global GDP, right, was spent for labor. So companies spent this amount of money for labor. Of this, 40% can be replaced very soon by AI. And it is just a matter of implementation now, right? Like integrating the existing model, integrating the existing AI into the system in order to replace this kind of unnecessary labor. So we have 40% of this goes to this, which would give us a more realistic, more conservative TAM from within the system, the wrong way of analyzing a paradigm, right, of 24 trillion per year. So $24 trillion per year. Let's maybe have some perspective. What does it mean? So if you could generate 24 trillion per year, as an industry, what would it mean? It would mean, if you look at some of the biggest companies in terms of revenue, like Alphabet, Amazon, ExxonMobil, Apple, Samsung, Microsoft, Meta, Tesla, none of them even makes 1 trillion per year. None of them, I think, makes even 500 billion, so half a trillion. If you combine all companies in the S&P 500, no, actually it's not even the S&P 500. I think this is a mistake. It's the S&P Global also. If you sum over all these companies' revenue, like the largest companies on earth, they make $12 trillion in annual revenue. So if we, this is not even that, like that. If we just assume that 40% of this revenue, yeah, this is revenue for, sorry about that, this 60 trillion is actually cost. These are actual costs on the bottom line that companies pay as wages, right? So companies pay this amount of money currently to workers. But now the same work could be done, like 40% of the work, of this work, could be done by AIs more efficiently, quicker, maybe 10 times the volume at a lower cost. So the TAM, like if we take 40% of the 60 trillion, we get 24 trillion. But if you just map this 24 trillion here as comparison, we see, wow, the AI company revenue. So if all AI companies get this pie, this is a big juicy pie, right, of revenue to distribute among the existing companies. That's why all companies, all the big companies, all the players, all the future players are competing heavily to become the biggest AI player. So this already gives us like a mid-presentation conclusion, right? Even if you assume that only 40% of the jobs are affected. And remember, we are looking at 70% of declining AI training costs annually. So in 2 years, AI training costs decline by 90%. So we can train models at the same cost that are 10 times larger. And I think these numbers are really way too conservative. We are in the middle of this massive revolution where we will go very quickly to this state where we have this big juicy pie of revenue to distribute. And this will be AI revenue, and we will look into the structure of this revenue, of this pie, later in this video. Okay, so the mid-presentation conclusion is, if we assume that only 40% of the jobs are affected and AI has zero impact on GDP, so it doesn't increase the pie, then the total addressable market suggests that we have actually a new mega sector that is bigger than anything we have ever seen, bigger than the internet. Why? Because the big internet companies combined are not even as big as this juicy yellow bar, right? So we have a new mega sector, obviously, and it is not overhyped, not even close. And the opportunity for us normal people, like normal coders, normal people who want to participate in this opportunity, is to simply help migrate our global system, that is the global economy, from one state, pre-AI, to the next state, post-AI. And in a post-AI world, obviously there's much less work, and we will have things such as universal basic income because the productivity will be so huge, right? This yellow money spent on AIs will be very, very productive. AIs will do much of the work. Not only digital AIs will do service work, as we will see in a moment, but we will also see embodied AIs and robots like humanoid robots. NVIDIA and Tesla and all these companies just announced new robotics programs, and the next wave of robots will be far more intelligent, far more general purpose than the last wave of robots. And you have seen what robotics did with our economy. We can see it every day. We can see it all around us. You can see it with all the products you consume. Every single product you have touched today was produced by a machine. It is like the industrial revolution on steroids, right? And so the opportunity is to simply become, say, an AI engineer. And if you want to do this, you can actually check out the Thinkster Academy. We have lots of courses in this regard. I will show you a few in a minute. So here are the courses. You just go to academy.thinkster.com. You see all the Thinkster courses, and here you can see we have courses on building complex multi-agent systems using LangGraph, on creating and scaling a digital self, so using OpenAI, fine-tuning the models, building generative AI applications using Google's Vertex AI, learn prompt engineering with AutoGen studios like drag and drop or editors, use Python and OpenAI Whisper to do voice recognition, and all these things, all these little tasks that are in extreme demand. It is because of these tasks that companies pay money not to workers, right? Here, 40%. They pay this money not to workers, they pay to prompt engineers and companies providing the AIs, as we will see later, prompt engineers like you, if you learn these courses. So go to academy.thinkster.com. We have a lot of courses. I give you some hints how you can reach this site later in the video. Okay, the labor distribution. Let's look at the labor distributions. I checked out this statistics where we have the employment in industry over time, and you can see like industry, this blue chart here is a pretty small percentage now. In the Industrial Revolution, it was like 90% or so. It was a big part. We have even agriculture. It was a big part previously, but now we have automation, and fewer people work in agriculture. A few people, percentage-wise, work in industry. So we have like 50%, half of them work in industry and agriculture, and then the other half works in services. So we can see like the labor distribution. This is the 60 trillion we found that goes to labor of the global GDP. 15 trillion goes to industry, 15 trillion goes to agriculture, and 30 trillion goes to services. And so let's have a quick look. Actually, I did the exercise. Let's look at the industry jobs first. Of those industry jobs, I actually did some research, found a list of job roles, of job titles. I asked ChatGPT just to demonstrate how useful AI is today. I asked it how many of those can be automated soon or can already be automated by AI, and it found like 80% or so could be automated. I have this green tick if it says yes, it can be automated, the yellow tick if it says maybe soon, and the red tick if it cannot be automated. So just visually look at those. Most of them can already be automated or can be soon or could be potentially automated, and only a few of them are actually not easy to automate. So you see in industry, within like this 24% pie, the 15 trillion pie, 80% can be automated by AI, according to AI. Then we have the agriculture jobs. Of those, I did the same exercise, 60% could be automated, like farm worker, things like this could be automated by a humanoid. I did the same for service jobs. Of those, 85% of the service jobs could be automated. And actually most of us work in services, right? It's the biggest part. It's like 50% of us work in services. It's like a $30 trillion per year expense item for companies. And of this expense item, 85% can now be done by an AI. And now the question is, how much, like what percentage of revenue actually flows to AIs? We have seen 60 trillion in our current situation, our current economy, flows to labor. So if you are a business owner, you have a simple mental model. I am a business owner. I also use this mental model. If I have a task that needs to be done, I hire a person. This is my default response, right? I am programmed this way. First of all, I want to hire a person to do the job. But if there is an AI or a robot that does the same job the person does, better, but at half the cost, I must do it, right, as a business owner. I must do it or I die, or my business dies. It is not optional. I need to do it. Okay, so this is my simple mental model. So I have a given task, I hire the person, but if an AI or a robot does it better at half the cost, I actually need to pay for the AI or the robot, or deploy it in any way. Probably the revenue will get smaller, right? Because I want to pay half the cost. But there's revenue involved, right? I still pay money to, say, OpenAI API calls, but I pay less. Okay, and so let's look at the AI revenue TAM. I use these assumptions I told you before. So we have industry, $15 trillion of revenue annually goes to industry workers, industry labor, and 80% of that can be automated. I've shown you how I came to those numbers. So if you do the calculations, we actually get $12 trillion. And now let's halve this, because the AI actually needs to be cheaper. Otherwise, people would still maybe deploy other people, right, to human workers to do the job. So we get to a 6 trillion revenue money. This money will be spent in industry. This money will be spent for robots and AIs. So somebody will get this money, somebody will make this revenue. Same for agriculture. With these assumptions, we get 4.5 trillion, and for services, we get 13 trillion. So combined, the AI companies' revenue, total addressable market is, if we sum those up, 6 trillion plus 4.5 trillion plus 13 trillion, we get 23.5 trillion per year. And this is a very actionable number, because this revenue will get distributed to AI companies that offer the services to automate the labor. So where will this money go? Where will these 23.5, or just round this down to 23 trillion annual AI revenue go? So first of all, so I've identified like 5 areas. First is AI development and research. Here we have Google and Meta being the leading companies in these areas, right? Google has actually created maybe OpenAI as well, right? So maybe I should add Microsoft here. But actually, Google has created the transformer model. They have created the transformer paper, on which the whole generative AI space, large language models, and OpenAI's progress and everything is actually built. Google Brain is one of the smartest AI development and research teams in the world. And Meta, the same. Yesterday I've recorded a video on where Meta's AI spend goes and what is the purpose of this huge AI spend. You can actually check it out. Just go to the Thinkster YouTube channel, subscribe, check out the videos there. So I think Google and Meta are similar in magnitude in terms of AI development and research. And money will go there, because from the annual AI revenue, actually the AI development and research is a core industry, because it drives AI advancements, and there's significant investment needed to continuously develop new AI technologies and capabilities. It won't stop. And if we reach AGI, those companies will still control the AGI, right? We have, and here I should actually add Microsoft. These are just 2 examples, right? So we have those companies actually control the biggest models. They will control AGI. Then a second expense item will be compute hardware and AI chips, obviously. So the AI needs to live somewhere, right? For people need to live in real estate. So actually companies that hire people need to pay for those people living somewhere, directly or indirectly. Indirectly, they pay a salary, and from the salary those people pay the landlords that give them a house to live in, right? And in the AI case, the AIs also need a house to live in. Where do the AIs live? They live on computing chips, specialized AI chips and processing units. Everything, this whole labor will be done on the AI chips. It won't even be done in factories. It will look like the robots work in factories or in the real world or so, but actually the real work is done on the AI chips, because the intelligent part of intelligent labor is done on the AI chips. And obviously we have here the NVIDIA company, and I just recorded another video on NVIDIA, actually 2 videos and valuing NVIDIA as a real estate company that sells housing to AI agents. You can also check it out. I will leave a link in the description below. You can also check out the Disruptive Innovation podcast. Then we have cloud computing services. The leader, so there are 3-4 leaders in cloud computing. We have obviously AWS being the 600-pound gorilla. Then we have also Microsoft. We have Google, Google Cloud. Microsoft has the Azure cloud provision. Then we have NVIDIA actually being in all these cloud services. They also provide some NVIDIA access. So we have different cloud computing companies, cloud platforms that actually provide access to this model for training and inference. And inference might be 100 times bigger, right? So we train a certain model, then we load the model into the cloud, and now the model is caught. Say we have AGI, it will be a huge model, a huge brain. Where does the brain live? Again, on AI chips, but where do the AI chips live? In the cloud. And they are accessible via the cloud platforms. And so it lives there, and those people will get a share, right? For hosting the brain, some of the money you need to spend to access this huge brain will flow to the cloud computing companies. And there are these couple of companies. They all have the same kind of, those companies already. Then fourth, we have AI integration services. So we need to tailor the models to specific industries, for example, pre-training, post-training, customizing models. And all of this will be done by prompt engineers, right? And maybe AI services of smaller companies that adapt the huge giga brains to specific industries. So it's basically the application sector. And I think the percentage number should be bigger. Actually, it's bigger than 15%. We'll go to the application sector. So what applications build on top of those AIs? And those applications will also get a big part of the revenue. And Tesla is an example. Currently they don't have like an AI as a service model or so. They mainly make money by selling cars currently, but in the future they will make money by selling full self-driving subscription. So full self-driving is an AI service, and robotaxi networks, and also the Optimus bot. Optimus bot will be more like an infrastructure, computing hardware thing, but it will also be an AI integration service, right? So what are the applications, the real world applications of AIs that are tailored to specific problems, like how to drive from point A to point B completely autonomously using AI. Tesla is the biggest company there, in my opinion. And then you have education and training. Finsta, again, is a primary example of how you can educate and train the workforce to develop those skills, because universities often don't teach those skills. You need private universities and academies like Finsta to teach the skills needed to deploy those skills in the real world and actually create this AI first future. Good. So, and then a few words before we end. I want to mention this. It is like a few words on the industry. It will be a winner takes most industry, like the internet. AI is same. Why? Because we have data. Tesla, for example, owns a majority of the autonomous driving data, and that's why the Tesla models for autonomous driving will be best. So of this pie, of this juicy yellow pie, total addressable market spent for AI and AI services, a big chunk of it will go to Tesla because they own the data, for example, and they have the best models, right? Then we have compute. Meta, like a small startup cannot spend 40 billion for AI training. So one company will own the AGI model basically, right? If you reach AGI, one company or a few companies will own that model. So, and those companies will make massive gains. Then we have know-how. Again, you cannot pay, as a small startup, you cannot pay for skilled AI engineers. They are way too expensive. If you are a smart AI engineer or you want to become one, then definitely check out our academy courses. So this is how you can become a scarce resource in our economy, to become a skilled AI engineer. You can work for big tech in those companies, right? And So, but it's also a winner takes all, most market here, because the big companies will get all the juicy engineers, the greatly skilled workers, and they will develop. Then they will deploy the know-how in those big tech companies. And then it's also a digital space. Obviously, in digital space, we have high profitability, low replication costs, which leads to a winner-takes-most economy. So these are the 4 reasons why it is a winner-takes-most market, which means that a handful of those tech companies will get big chunks of the pie, and then the remaining pie is then distributed among the remaining like thousands and thousands of companies, right? So a few companies will make outsized returns. And I think we can already see which companies will do so, right? And also additionally, this is a takeaway I often mention. If you have an economy, like Elon Musk says, it consists majorly of labor and capital, and labor now becomes infinitely scaled. Labor, and if you look at labor is basically an infinite force. Capital is a finite force, and currently, and so ownership of capital, scarce capital resources, becomes vitally important. There are some capital items that can also be scaled arbitrarily, like for example fiat money. We will look into this in the next slide. Like if you look at scarcity versus abundance, we have a few things in our world that remain scarce, like stocks and productive companies in AI, specific AI first knowledge, something that you can train, for example, on the Thinkster Academy. You have artificially scarce monetary goods, you know them, like digital money, funny internet money. But we have also abundance in many surprising ways. Abundance of labor now, intelligent labor I should write. We have abundance of fiat currencies, and you see it here. The nominal GDP increases faster than the real GDP, which means you get squeezed because we have an abundance of those fiat currencies, these fiat goods. So they will just create more fiat items like US dollar, euros, Chinese yuan. They will create them, they will distribute them to people. So this is actually abundant, and that's why it becomes more and more worthless. It will be erased to zero. The value will be raised to zero. Then we have certain goods, so you should not store your wealth in goods, right? Because goods will become abundant as well. Also space. In surprising ways, I think real estate is not so good as good as an investment. It might be better than many other investments, obviously, then relatively outperforms many other investments, but it's not really scarce, right? You can always build into the sky. And if labor is abundant, it's also cheaper to build into the sky. So there's enough space in the universe, right? And there's also enough energy in the universe. So these type of, I wouldn't like store my wealth in commodities like oil. Maybe in commodity producing companies, like solar producing companies, where you have a share of their production output that becomes more and more abundant. This might be good, right? This is a scarce good, to have a stock, to have a percentage ownership in a company that creates the energy. But having the energy becomes more and more abundant, and your small percentage of the energy will become a smaller and smaller percentage over time by just waiting. So there's an inflation rate or a debasement rate in energy, in space, in goods, in fiat currencies, in labor. Some things are still deflationary, like AI first knowledge, stocks in productive companies, and artificially scarce monetary goods. Okay, if you want to join our Thinkster community, just go to thinkster.com, subscribe to our email newsletter. I share videos like this and other videos that help you stay on the right side of change almost daily, at least a couple of times per week. I try to help you be on the right side of change. It's our mission. And also check out our beginner-friendly AI practitioner courses on the Thinkster Academy. Just go to academy.thinkster.com. You can also Google it. Google Academy, Thinkster reviews or something. And you can also become a member by just joining the channel here on YouTube just go to YouTube and become a channel member. Katana Plus gives you access to the all Academy courses. Thanks for watching this video. I really appreciated your time, so I didn't include it here, but your time is very scarce as well. I'm grateful that you spent your scarce, limited time with me, with Pfingster. I'm grateful to have you here. I hope you join our other videos, you should join our channels, you subscribe to the community, and you keep engaging with the content and hopefully be on the right side of change. See you soon. Bye.